Welcome to Thronecast, the official guide to Game of Thrones from Sky Atlantic HD. We've just watched episode 5, Kissed by Fire, and coming up tonight, Finn Jones is here to talk about seething undercurrents. Dent untangles the burning issues. Elio and Linda help us out with a short history of Jorah Mormont. And stick around for a first look at next week's episode. Now, how long has it been since you had a bath? Wow, well, that was quite the twist at the end there. I think it's safe to say Tyrion and Cersei won't be going big on Father's Day presents this year. And there's going to be some uncomfortable speeches at those wedding receptions. Elsewhere, in the Lannister family, Jaime revealed his softer side in the bath. But before we start feeling too sorry for him, I did notice that he made Brienne sit at the tap end. Oh, and I'll tell you what was awkward. Daenerys talking to the slave army. Grey Worm is an awful name. It's a terrible slave name. Choose any name you like, a new name, a free name, any name. Actually, I quite like Grey Worm, you know. It's my name. I've got it engraved in the back of my shield. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Grey Worm. Yeah, it was awkward. And Jon Snow and Ygritte the Wildling finally did it, in a cave. But it turned out that Jon wasn't her first. And who was that she was talking about? Red of hair, just a boy. Bit of a weakling. Fortunately, I've got very close to a lot of the cast of Game of Thrones doing this show, so I'm going to call Rose Leslie, who plays Ygritte. Must be a bad signal. And joining me to look at Kissed by Fire, it's the Lady of Light, the mysterious priestess herself, Grace Dent. Hello!
Hello. I love that's the best introduction you've given me yet. We'll
use it again next week, then. Wouldn't want it to go to waste. So it's all gone wrong for Robb Stark. It seems like things are really falling apart there.
They are falling apart from it. But I feel that, you know, we're beginning to see how kind of immature and inexperienced he is as a leader, because everything was kind of going his way, wasn't it? But, you know, if you look back to season 1, you know, we were all quite surprised when he was given that job in the first place. He'd never really done anything like that. He'd never really proved this greatness. So I do think it's a temporary blip, but I think it's interesting to see that, you know, he hasn't got all the answers. And there's, you know, there's a power play between him wanting to be this kind of this great, strong leader who, you know, takes no prisoners and is quite prepared to kill anybody that goes against him. And the fact that, you know, that doesn't often work. You know, sometimes you do have to... He's forgotten the value of a hostage.
So let's talk about Littlefinger. One of my favourite parts of the week is hearing you get enraged just at the very mention of his name. Do you think he's been thwarted?
As if anything is going to thwart this man. He's too wise. And I wish he wasn't, but he is wise and he's too crafty and he hasn't got a good heart. So therefore, he's prepared to backstab anybody. And I just think that he's got too many plans up his sleeve. I don't think that, you know, that this isn't going to thwart him. He has got his eye on the prize of Sansa. And I don't think anything's going to stop that.
So let's move on to Jaime Lannister. We saw him in the bath with Brienne and he seemed to really open up in the soap suds there. Did your heart melt a little bit when we found out about how he really became the Kingslayer?
I questioned why he hadn't said this sooner, because for somebody who can be as self-serving as him, for him to say, and I didn't say it because they'd never have believed me. I mean, I'm just more interested to see where this is going, actually, you know, because his strength was being a fantastic fighter, and he's got one hand now. So I'm interested in that, and I'm interested to see what his father thinks of that.
Grace, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This week we see Loras Tyrell, the Knight of Flowers, being shoved from pillar to post between Sansa and Cersei. He's got some fine women to choose from, and he doesn't want any of them. Let's ask the man what plays him how he feels about it. It's Finn Jones. Finn Jones, welcome to Thronecast.
Hello.
It's lovely to see you. Nice bit of knitwear.
Thank you.
Never cast a clout till May is out and all that.
Huh?
You're not supposed to take off your jumper until after May.
Oh, okay.
In Britain.
Great.
Nobody ever gave you that advice?
No, never.
Already I feel we're settling into a father-son dynamic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold me.
Now, first thing I want to ask you is about that nickname, Knight of Flowers.
Right, right.
Do you wish they'd given you a better nickname?
Yeah, kind of. I don't really think it really suits him.
From the outside with Loras, like, he does well in the tournament, the ladies swoon after him, but in some ways he seems like a bit of a sidelined character. Do you feel like an outsider in some ways?
Not really, no. I think the great thing about George's writing is even though how minor the roles may seem, they're all so kind of amazingly detailed in their objectives and their backstories. So even though in the books especially, you don't really get the point of views from Loras, you know so much about him, and I think that's the same with all the characters.
This business now with marrying off Loras to Cersei,
right?
What do you think he thinks about that? Will he go along with it? I mean,
well, he kind of has to. I think he deeply hates the idea.
How involved do you get in that Westeros world? Because some of the actors do the conventions, some of them don't.
Yeah, I do quite a few conventions. It's a great way to travel the world and meet people and also just talk about the show. I mean, the show's so complex and it's such a great story. It's just amazing. I can talk for hours about it. I was in Romania recently, and I went out for drinks afterwards in the old town, and just randomly I met up with some of the fans that were in the convention, and you know, they just asked if they could buy me a drink, and of course I said yes. And
yeah, it would be impolite not to.
Yeah, and we just sat down and we started talking about the books and the show for hours, and just hours and hours and hours, and it's amazing to be a part of something like that which can connect you to all these people around the world and just...
And you are one of the actors who also reads the books then, because some people don't want to read ahead, so you want to know what happens to Loras.
I love it. It's not even Loras, it's all the other characters. Like, I'm heavily into the whole Bran storyline, the warging, the weirwood trees, the three-eyed crow or raven. Oh, I love it so much. It's amazing to be a part of something that I kind of enjoy so much.
And do you sit and watch it with your family?
No, I refuse to. No, it's
Are there certain things that aren't spoken about over Sunday lunch?
All that kind of stuff. And my gran watches it, my granddad, and they live in this small town down in Devon, and
that's a great technique you've got there, Finn. Good lad. What do you want for your birthday?
Yeah, so that's,
And do you get involved in social media? Can I find you on Twitter? Can they find you on Twitter?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter.
I'm going to do it.
Great. Awesome.
And you're also a DJ?
Well, it's a hobby. I think that's been wildly blown out of proportion, but...
We love wildly blowing things out of proportion on this programme.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
No,
we're happy to fuel that rumour.
I'm heavily into music. We were just talking about the new Daft Punk song, which I'm so excited about. But I'm heavily into music. I like to DJ, but it's certainly not a career path.
Because Christian, who plays Hodor, is also a DJ.
Yeah, when we was in Belfast, we went to see him play, and it was awesome. There was just me, Gwen, Gethin, all on the dance floor with Hodor DJing. Yeah, it was great.
You could make a fortune, the two of you going out and doing Game of Thrones fans' weddings.
Maybe we should.
Yes.
Yeah. Hodor and Loras on the decks. Yeah. Why not? Let's do it.
Great. Finn, thank you so much for coming and talking to us.
Great, thank you.
So, as Sir Barristan said, a man of honour keeps his vows, even if he's serving a drunk or a lunatic. Here's one of each, but which one's which? It's Elio and Linda from Westeros.org. Hello.
Hello, Geoff.
Hello. So let's talk, first of all, about Ser Jorah Mormont. Now, I feel like this week was the first week we got a glimpse into his past, because we've only ever really seen him serving Daenerys and then her brother before that. What is his history? They mentioned slaving.
Right. Ser Jorah managed to get himself married to a very beautiful woman from a very, very wealthy family. He was not so wealthy, and so in the process of trying to keep her happy, he basically beggared himself. He spent far too much money trying to keep her happy, and it was never enough. And it got so bad at one point that he broke the laws of the Seven Kingdoms. He sold some men into slavery to a passing slaver from the Free Cities. And this is a capital crime, and Eddard Stark was actually going to execute him. But he fled. He fled with his wife rather than accept the justice that was coming to him, and since then he's lived a fairly mean existence. But I mean, he's not well regarded in Westeros. He's regarded as an outlaw and a person, and a coward, basically.
We met Stannis' wife for the first time this week, Selyse, and his daughter Shireen, and they don't seem to have that great a life locked up in that tower.
No, Stannis isn't exactly a great husband and a very attentive father, is he? They have a bit of a complex marriage, certainly. They don't really seem to be particularly close. She seems to be a little closer to the babies she's keeping in jars. That's something the show has added, by the way.
Oh, that's not in the books then?
No, it isn't, but their marriage isn't great in the books either. They just don't have a close relationship. But she has become quite a fanatic since Melisandre showed up. So that's definitely part of her character.
And listen, we've made a point of not reading the books because we want to be surprised by the TV show. I will read them when the show is over. But you know all about it. That song that we heard at the end there, Shireen singing about birds with scales and fish with wings, is that an important thing?
It's a little creepy, wasn't it? Shireen, well, she's quite a lonely child, a little bit of an oddity perhaps. She's got, you know, the scaling on her face and all that going on. And, well, in the books she gets this song from a strange jester that they've got around. We don't really know what the idea quite is, how she's picked it up here, but she's the one singing it instead of the jester. So whether that has any further meaning or it's just a little creepy touch, we'll have to wait and see.
Remains to be seen. Elio, Linda, thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
And that's that. I can't believe we're halfway there already. There's a new episode of Game of Thrones on Sky Atlantic HD Monday night, and you can see everything so far from Series 3 on demand. And before we go, here's a brief tease of next week's episode, Episode 6. It's called The Climb.
You ever climbed it before?
You're afraid.
Aren't you?
We will do whatever we can to give Lord Frey what he needs. Not what, whom.
King Rob is keeping your father quite busy. He doesn't have time for anything else.
He'll make time for you.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Sink your metal deep. If you fall, don't scream.
Sorry.
There's someone out there.